They called across the galaxy, and Earth's monsters appeared. The night sky over Earth had never seemed so alive. Stars shimmered like tiny sparks of fire scattered across a dark velvet canvas, each one holding secrets humanity had not yet discovered. For millennia, humans had looked up at these distant lights, wondering what lay beyond. They had sent their robots, probes, and satellites into space, capturing glimpses of distant planets and moons. Yet nothing had prepared them for the message they were about to receive. It began quietly. In the middle of an ordinary Thursday, deep in the heart of the United Nations Space Observatory in Chile, a small team of scientists noticed something unusual. Dr. Alina Morales, the head of the observatory, leaned over her console with a frown. Her fingers danced over the keyboard, adjusting the frequency filters and zooming in on the signal. "Are you seeing this?" she asked, her voice steady but tinged with curiosity. Her assistant, Riku Tanaka, nodded slowly. "It's repeating. It's structured, not random noise." "It's a pattern." Alina's eyes widened. Patterns in space were rare. Most signals were just cosmic background noise, the chatter of distant stars or bursts of radiation. But this was different. It had intention behind it. For hours, the small team worked tirelessly, decoding and interpreting. Slowly, a message began to emerge. It was fragmented at first, like pieces of a puzzle scattered across the void. But as they pieced it together, a clear request took shape. "Help us, they are coming, need allies." Alina felt a chill run down her spine. The message was desperate. Whoever or whatever sent it was in danger. The thought of a civilization far across the galaxy, reaching out to Earth for help, was both thrilling and terrifying. She called an emergency meeting with the United Nations Space Council. By midnight, the situation had become global news. Scientists, politicians, and journalists debated what to do. Some feared it might be a trap. Perhaps it was an alien test, or worse, a warning. But others argued that humanity could not ignore a cry for help. "Imagine," Alina said during the meeting, "a civilization out there suffering and reaching across the stars. If we have the ability to respond, shouldn't we?" Her words hung in the room. Some nodded, some shook their heads. But slowly the decision was made. Earth would respond. The response was not easy. Humanity did not have faster-than-light travel, nor did it have fleets capable of interstellar warfare. Yet humans were resourceful. Scientists proposed a solution. They would send an advanced probe equipped with artificial intelligence and emergency supplies, as well as a signal containing Earth's willingness to help. The probe, named Pioneer Dawn, was built in record time. Its engines were designed for long-distance travel, its AI programmed to communicate with any intelligent species, and its storage contained not only maps of Earth, but also cultural information, music, and messages from people all over the planet. The day Pioneer Dawn launched, crowds gathered worldwide. Children pressed their faces against telescope lenses, adults held cameras and phones, and leaders gave speeches emphasizing the unity and courage of humanity. It was a historic moment. As the probe left Earth's orbit, Alina whispered to herself, "May they know we are coming and that we are not alone." Weeks turned into months. The probe traveled across light years, sending back small updates. But the real story, the real adventure, was still waiting at its destination. On Earth, life continued, but a subtle change began to take hold. People looked at the sky differently. There was a new excitement in science classes, a new urgency in exploration programs, and a new dream in every child who gazed at the stars. Humanity had reached a turning point. They were no longer just observers of the galaxy. They were participants. Then came the first response. One quiet morning, the observatory picked up a new signal. Unlike the first, this one was fast and urgent, almost like a heartbeat. The team decoded it with bated breath. "We see you," the message said. "Earth, you have courage, need you." Alina felt her heart pound. The aliens knew they were coming, and they were counting on humanity. Not long after, astronomers began noticing strange readings near the edges of the solar system. Objects moved erratically, and energy bursts unlike anything known in the galaxy were detected. Rumors spread, but few realized what it meant. Humanity's first glimpse of the real danger was approaching. The alien civilization that had sent the call was facing a threat unlike any humanity had encountered. Massive, shadowy creatures moved through space, leaving destruction in their wake. Their forms were unclear, but their presence was undeniable. Satellites sent to investigate were shredded by unknown forces, their data lost forever. Alina gathered her team once again. "We don't know what we are facing," she said, "but we can prepare. If the signal is true, if they need us, we must be ready to do more than watch." The next step was to build ships capable of reaching the aliens in time. Earth's nations pooled resources and knowledge, creating a fleet faster and smarter than anything before. Engineers worked day and night, inspired by the thought of humans venturing into the stars to meet another civilization. They designed modular ships capable of quick repairs and adaptive technology, because humans had always thrived in the face of unexpected challenges. The fleet was ready within a year. Pilots were trained, scientists briefed, and AI systems tested. Every person involved knew the risks, yet none wavered. There was a shared belief that humans had something unique to offer: ingenuity, courage, and hope. Finally, the day came. Ships lifted off from Earth, leaving a trail of fire and smoke. The world watched as humans crossed the threshold from planet-bound observers to interstellar allies. For the first time, humanity stepped into a story far bigger than themselves. As the fleet traveled, the crew studied the alien signals. They learned fragments of the alien language, understanding its urgency. The creatures threatening the alien civilization were unlike anything humans had imagined. They seemed to defy physics, capable of moving through space without engines, consuming matter to grow larger. Captain Aidan Cross, a seasoned pilot, looked at the stars through the ship's observation deck. "If those messages are true, we are about to meet monsters that make everything on Earth look small," he said, voice calm but tense. His co-pilot, Lena Rao, nodded. "Then it's lucky we're human. If there's one thing humans are good at, it's facing the impossible." And that was the essence of the journey ahead. Humanity didn't have the biggest weapons or the strongest armor, but they had brains, courage, and a willingness to act where others hesitated. In the face of an unknown threat, that might be enough. As they neared the coordinates of the alien world, the signal intensified. The aliens were waiting, but what awaited the humans was beyond description. In the darkness of space, enormous shapes stirred, creatures whose forms seemed borrowed from Earth's myths, yet twisted and magnified for the void of space. No one could have predicted the terror, and all the fleet would feel when they saw the first massive silhouette drifting against the stars. Its form was both familiar and alien, a creature reminiscent of Earth's ancient legends, yet larger and more menacing than anything humanity had ever imagined. Alina, observing the live feed from Earth, whispered to herself, "We answered the call, and now the real test begins." Even in the quiet of space, there was a rhythm to what was coming. Humans, who had always looked up in wonder, were about to prove that their courage, intelligence, and unity were more powerful than they had ever realized. And while the monsters of the galaxy were awakening, Earth's people were awakening too, to the idea that even the smallest species could matter across the vastness of space. The signal had been answered. And with it, humanity had stepped into a story that would shape the stars themselves. The human fleet moved cautiously through the darkness of space. The stars stretched endlessly, but something ahead drew every eye. The signals had led them to a distant star system, far beyond the reaches of any human probe before. And there, orbiting a blue and green world much like Earth, the fleet finally saw it, the alien city. It was unlike anything humans had ever imagined. Towering structures of shining crystal and metal spiraled toward the sky. Lights of every color pulsed along the city's surface, moving in intricate patterns that suggested both art and purpose. Ships moved in perfect synchronization above the city, creating a delicate dance in the void. The alien civilization, soon to be known to humans as the Kelari, were waiting. Their ships were slender, iridescent, and elegant, unlike the bulky human vessels. As the human fleet approached, the Kelari opened communication channels. A voice, musical and flowing, resonated through the human translators. "Earth, you have answered. We are the Kelari. Our world is in peril. We are grateful, yet time is short." Captain Aidan Cross stepped forward on the bridge of the Dauntless, Earth's lead ship. "We received your message. Tell us what we are facing. We want to help." The Kelari envoy appeared as a holographic figure, luminous and almost transparent, its form fluid like water. It moved with grace, yet there was an unmistakable urgency in its movements. "The threat, they are called the Void Spawn," the envoy said. "Creatures beyond our comprehension, they consume worlds, nothing stops them. Our technology fails against them." We reached out and you came. A murmur ran through the human crew, a fleet of monsters, capable of destroying entire planets, yet the Kalari's plea also carried hope. They believed humans could make a difference. Lena Rao leaned closer to Captain Cross. Monsters, from their description, they sound like legends, but legends are not supposed to be real. Maybe, Aiden replied, but it seems some legends are waiting for the right heroes. The Kalari guided the human fleet into orbit around their planet. From space, the city looked peaceful, but the surface sensors revealed devastation. Vast areas of land had been stripped bare. Energy readings suggested colossal impact events, something far larger than any natural disaster could cause. The first human delegation landed near the city. The Kalari walked with them, guiding their way through streets lined with crystalline towers and shimmering gardens. Though the environment was alien, there was beauty and intelligence in every detail. The Kalari communicated in ways humans could understand, using light patterns, vibrations, and sound to translate their complex language. Finally, the humans were brought to the Kalari Council Chamber. There, a massive holographic map of the galaxy hovered in the center of the room. Flickering red points marked the locations of worlds already destroyed by the Void Spawn. Their home world was one of the few remaining. "We have fought for centuries," the Kalari explained. "But each battle costs more lives than we can spare. These creatures, they adapt. They learn, they grow stronger with every encounter. Alone, we cannot stop them." Elena Morales, Earth's lead scientist on the mission, studied the map with a sense of awe. "What do you need from us?" she asked. "Your kind is unique," the Kalari said. "You think differently, you are unpredictable, you are clever. That is why we reached across the stars." The words struck the humans with pride. Despite being a young species in the galaxy, they were being trusted with the survival of another civilization. The first reconnaissance mission against the Void Spawn began the very next day. Humans and Kalari worked side by side, preparing sensors, weapons, and shields. The Kalari ships were elegant but fragile, designed for speed and precision, not brute force. The humans brought something new: adaptable strategies, rapid improvisation, and sheer courage. As the fleets approached the edge of the threat zone, the Void Spawn appeared. At first, it was only shadows on the sensors, shapes too large to comprehend. Then the first of the creatures came into view, enormous black forms that moved through space as if it were water. Their surfaces shimmered with strange energy, and their limbs, tentacle-like yet structured, could crush ships with ease. The Kalari were horrified. They are larger than we imagined," one of them said, its voice trembling. "Even our shields may not hold." Captain Cross ordered the fleet to maintain formation. "Hold steady, observe, learn, we'll find a way." The first encounter was terrifying. Void Spawn swept through the outskirts of the fleet, destroying smaller Kalari ships. Human vessels dodged and weaved, using their smaller size and flexibility to avoid being crushed. Despite the terror, humans noticed patterns, small movements, reactions, ways in which the Void Spawn hesitated. Lena Rao, monitoring the sensors, shouted, "They're responding to energy pulses. If we can predict their reactions, maybe we can lead them." Using their intuition and experience, humans devised a plan. They baited one of the smaller Void Spawn into a trap, leading it toward a narrow asteroid field where its size became a disadvantage. The creature collided with asteroids, giving the Kalari fleet a chance to disable it. It was dangerous, but the plan worked. The first human-inspired victory had been achieved. The Kalari were amazed. "Your methods, they are unlike anything we have seen," the envoy said. "You are clever, unpredictable, formidable." Captain Cross replied, "We're used to facing challenges. We improvise, adapt, survive." That night, humans and Kalari held a meeting to plan the next step. The Void Spawn were far from defeated, and more terrifying forms were detected heading toward the planet. Yet there was hope now. Humans had discovered the power of observation, creativity, and unconventional thinking against a seemingly unbeatable enemy. Elena Morales and her team worked with Kalari scientists, using human mathematics and intuition to analyze the Void Spawn's behavior. They began to see weaknesses hidden within the monster's adaptations, like gaps in their energy shields and predictable reactions to certain stimuli. A young Kalari scientist, Neela, spoke to Elena in quiet awe. "Your species, you do not fear the unknown. You see challenges as opportunities. That is rare." Elena smiled softly. "We've survived a lot by thinking differently. That's our gift." As the humans spent more time on the Kelari world, they began to notice something remarkable. The monsters, terrifying as they were, shared certain features with Earth's legends. Tentacles, massive wings, enormous claws, creatures reminiscent of dragons, krakens, and other mythical beasts. It was as if human imagination, built over centuries of stories, had somehow predicted these cosmic horrors. Captain Cross shared this thought with the Council. The creatures resemble our myths. Maybe we can use our stories to understand them. If our legends can guide us, maybe we can find a way to fight them. The Kelari were skeptical but willing to try. With humans leading, they developed new strategies combining human creativity with alien technology. Drones that mimicked the void spawn's movement patterns, energy traps inspired by Earth's folklore, and coordinated maneuvers that took advantage of human unpredictability were prepared. It was the first step toward hope, a small spark of light in the shadow of monsters. But the void spawn were relentless. Their attacks grew more aggressive, striking with speed and intelligence that even the Kelari struggled to counter. Human pilots flew daring missions, dodging energy blasts, grappling with massive limbs, and learning from each encounter. Every victory was hard-won, but each one built confidence. Humans were proving what the Kelari had already sensed. Their ingenuity and courage made them valuable allies. Lena Rao, flying alongside a Kelari ship, called out, "Keep following my lead, don't stick to patterns." That's how they learn. The maneuver worked. The void spawn's attack was disrupted, and a smaller Kelari city was spared from destruction. Human and Kelari crews cheered, a rare moment of celebration in the midst of war. Elena watched the battle from the observation deck. She felt a deep pride in humanity. They had arrived as strangers in this galaxy, yet they were already making a difference. By the end of the first week of coordinated missions, humans had gained the Kelari's trust completely. "You are more than allies," the Kelari envoy said. "You are symbols of hope. The galaxy will remember you." Captain Cross nodded. "We came to help, that's all we ever wanted, but I see now we're learning too. Together we can face anything." The Kelari had opened their world to humans, sharing knowledge, culture, and technology. And humans had begun to leave their mark, showing that even a young species could rise to meet impossible challenges. But the crew knew the truth. The void spawn were only growing stronger. They were not merely fighting monsters. They were fighting a force that threatened entire civilizations. And soon, humans would have to face the largest, most terrifying of them all, the creature that had destroyed the Kelari's outer worlds and cast a shadow across the stars. For now, humans and Kelari celebrated small victories, learned from each other, and prepared for the battles ahead. Humanity had made its first step into a larger galaxy, and with courage, intelligence, and ingenuity, they were ready to face the unknown. The story of Earth's people and the monsters of the galaxy was only just beginning. The Kelari world had become a hub of human and alien collaboration. Ships from Earth and Kelari docks worked side by side, scientists from both species shared ideas, and pilots trained together under the shadow of a growing threat. Yet despite victories in early skirmishes, the void spawn were far from defeated. Captain Aiden Cross stood on the observation deck of the Dauntless, watching the stars stretch into streaks as the fleet moved through hyperspace. "They're learning," he said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "Every move we make, they adapt. We can't just fight them like we would normal enemies." Lena Rao, standing beside him, nodded. "Then we don't fight them like normal enemies. We think differently. That's what got us this far." Humans had already begun to teach the Kelari their strategies, methods born from centuries of improvisation, experimentation, and observation. They showed that a smaller, faster ship could outmaneuver even the largest void spawn. They taught how to predict movement patterns based on subtle cues. They introduced the concept of using imagination as a tool, thinking about the creatures as if they were puzzles, not just threats. The Kelari were skeptical at first. Their technology was precise and powerful, but it lacked the unpredictability of human thought. Humans, it seemed, had a gift for finding solutions where rigid systems failed. The next mission was the most dangerous yet. A void spawn larger than any previous had been detected moving toward one of the Kelari outer colonies. Its presence caused massive gravitational distortions, pulling debris and satellites into chaotic orbits. The Kelari named it Gorath, a shadow so vast it blocked the light of nearby stars. Captain Cross convened a planning meeting. This one, it's not just another monster, it's smart. It reacts to energy patterns, movement, even sound vibrations. If we go in unprepared, we lose ships, we lose lives, and we lose the Kelari's trust. Elena Morales leaned over a holographic table displaying the creature. We've studied its movements from previous encounters. There's a pattern, but it's subtle. If we can predict it, we can guide it into a trap. We can make it vulnerable. Lena added, think of it like chess. We set the board, make our moves, and force it into a position it can't escape from. The crew spent hours running simulations. Kelari ships learned to follow human commands that were sometimes chaotic and unconventional. Humans improvised ways to bait Gorath using holographic projections, energy signals, and decoy ships. Remember, Captain Cross said, this isn't about brute force. It's about being smarter, faster, and more creative than the creature. And it's about trust in our allies and trust in ourselves. The fleet approached Gorath's location cautiously. Space itself seemed to shiver under the creature's immense presence. Sensors picked up its vast energy field, which pulsed like a heartbeat. Each pulse pushed human and Kelari ships backward. The smaller void spawn had been dangerous, but this was beyond anything they had faced. Keep your nerves steady, Aiden told his crew. Follow the plan. Improvise when needed. We can do this. As the first ships engaged Gorath, it reacted instantly. Massive limbs swept through the void, tearing apart Kelari drones and scattering smaller human vessels. But humans were ready. They moved unpredictably, darting in ways Gorath didn't anticipate. It paused, confused by patterns that did not match any previous encounter. Lena Rao's voice came over the comms, calm and commanding. Now, draw it toward the asteroid field. The fleet executed the maneuver perfectly. Gorath followed the bait, its massive shadow moving between the debris. Human pilots guided it into a trap where the asteroids limited its movement. The Kelari unleashed synchronized energy nets, but even then, Gorath resisted. That was when humans revealed their secret weapon, improvisation. Drones mimicked Gorath's previous attacks, feeding it false signals. Small ships darted in and out, drawing its attention in ways no algorithm could predict. Humans adjusted tactics in real time, thinking faster than the creature could respond. It worked. Gorath's movement slowed. Energy readings became unstable. With one final coordinated strike from Kelari and human ships, the creature was forced into stasis containment. A field humans had helped design, using improvisation to patch a Kelari system in mid-flight. The fleet cheered. A massive victory had been achieved. But the humans and Kelari knew it was only the beginning. After the battle, humans and Kelari gathered to analyze the encounter. Gorath had been formidable, but they had learned more than expected. Its patterns, weaknesses, and reactions were all data they could use for the next engagement. Elena spoke to the council. We saw that thinking differently can overcome raw power. Gorath adapted to predictable strategies, but humans, we improvise, we learn as we go. That's why we succeeded, and if we continue this way, we can protect your colonies and your world. The Kelari were beginning to understand. Humans were small, fragile in many ways, but they had something that technology alone could not provide: creativity, intuition, and courage under pressure. Neela, the young Kelari scientist, said softly, "Your species, you turn fear into strength. You do not fight blindly. You observe, you plan, you adapt. This, it is unlike anything we have seen." Elena smiled. "That's humanity. We've survived against impossible odds before, and we'll survive this too." Meanwhile, the fleet prepared for the next challenge. More void spawn were detected moving in multiple directions, including a massive horde heading straight for the Kelari capital. The humans began to see a bigger picture. The creatures were not acting randomly. They had strategic intent, almost like an army with a purpose. Captain Cross called a meeting. "This is no longer just defense. This is a battle for survival. We need to think like the enemy, move faster, and strike smarter. And we need everyone, humans and Kelari, to trust each other completely. This is our chance to prove what we can do together." Lena Rao added, "We're not just fighting monsters. We're showing that intelligence, courage, and teamwork can face anything, even creatures from beyond the stars." Training intensified. Humans taught Kelari how to adapt tactics in real time. Kelari shared their advanced technology, teaching humans how to integrate their energy shields, warp drives, and defensive systems with human improvisation. Engineers created hybrid systems. human intuition guiding alien tech to create weapons and traps capable of countering void spawn in ways neither species could do alone. On the ground, humans and Kalari prepared cities for possible attacks. Defensive grids, evacuation plans, and energy shields were installed. The Kalari began to see Earth-style problem solving as a critical advantage. Elena worked on understanding the void spawn at a biological level. Using data from previous encounters, she noticed strange patterns. The creatures reacted to sound, light, and motion in ways that mirrored mythic behaviors described in Earth's legends. It was as if Earth's folklore contained clues to survival against these cosmic monsters. "This is incredible," she said to Neela. "Our myths, they might actually guide us. Stories of monsters, dragons, and giants, maybe they're not just tales, maybe they're warnings or lessons we can use in space." Neela looked skeptical but intrigued. "If that is true, humanity is more important to this galaxy than we realized." Days later, the humans faced another encounter, this time with a void spawn that was faster, smarter, and far more destructive than Gorath. They called it Mordak, a creature so massive that even the Kalari flagship had to retreat at first sight. Captain Cross ordered the fleet to apply what they had learned. Instead of confronting Mordak head-on, they studied its behavior. Human pilots noticed that it responded aggressively to certain energy frequencies, but cautiously to irregular movements. Using this knowledge, humans led it into a region of space littered with unstable asteroids, creating chaos that gave them a tactical advantage. Lena Rao guided the ships in an intricate dance, weaving between the debris, baiting Mordak into traps. Kalari energy nets stabilized the creature's movement, while humans improvised a containment strategy, deploying drones that created illusions of additional ships. Mordak, confused by the unpredictability, slowed. Finally, in a coordinated strike, human ingenuity and Kalari technology combined to push the creature into stasis containment. The fleet erupted in cheers, but the victory felt different. This was not just a win, it was a proof that humans, creativity and adaptability could challenge even the greatest threats. Elena reflected on the battle. "We're showing that brains, courage, and teamwork can overcome brute strength. That's what makes humanity powerful, not size. Not weapons, but thought, spirit, and persistence." By the end of the week, humans and Kalari had developed a new understanding of the void spawn. They had patterns, weaknesses, and strategies. Humans had gained confidence in their ability to contribute meaningfully, while Kalari learned that combining technology with improvisation could turn the tide of war. Captain Cross looked at the holographic map of the galaxy, noting the void spawn's positions. "We've made a difference," he said. "But this is only the beginning. The largest threats are still out there. The monsters we've faced are only the scouts. The real danger is coming." And humans, young as they were in the galaxy, had proven something remarkable. Even against monsters of unimaginable size and power, courage, intelligence, and ingenuity could shine brighter than fear. The story of humanity in this galaxy was only beginning, but the first chapters had already shown that Earth's people were not to be underestimated. The calm before the storm was brief. Even as the Human-Kalari Alliance celebrated their small victories, alarms blared across the fleets. Sensor readings indicated the arrival of a massive void spawn, the largest yet, known among the Kalari as Titanus. Its sheer size distorted space around it, creating waves that disrupted communications and pulled smaller ships off course. Captain Aiden Cross stared at the readouts, his jaw tight. "This is it. Titanus is no ordinary void spawn. If it reaches the Kalari capital, millions could die. Everyone listen carefully. This mission will require precision, courage, and, most importantly, human ingenuity." Lena Rao nodded beside him. "We've faced huge creatures before, but this is beyond anything. We need a plan that even Titanus cannot predict." Elena Morales and her team were already analyzing the creature. "It reacts to energy patterns," she explained. "But unlike Gorath or Mordak, Titanus seems sentient. It adapts instantly, and its attacks are coordinated. It's learning from every move we make." A murmur ran through the human pilots. The Kalari's eyes, luminous in the briefing room, reflected equal concern. The humans spent hours designing a strategy. Unlike previous missions, this one couldn't rely solely on brute force or bait-and-trap methods. Titanus was too intelligent, too powerful. Instead, the plan focused on distraction, unpredictability, and synergy between human improvisation and Kalari technology. Captain Cross summarized the approach. We divide the fleet into 3 groups. Group A will engage Titanus directly, drawing its attention. Group B will create unpredictable energy patterns to confuse it. Group C, humans, will adapt on the fly, exploiting openings no algorithm can predict. Everyone must communicate and trust each other completely. If we fail, Titanus will destroy everything. The room was silent. Every human and Kalari present understood the stakes, but there was no hesitation. This was what they had trained for. As the fleet approached Titanus, its presence became overwhelming. Even from a distance, the creature's enormous limbs reached across space like black shadows, crushing asteroids and scattering debris. Energy waves radiated from its body, shaking ships like leaves in a storm. Lena Rao's voice came over the comms. Steady, focus on the plan. Group A, draw its attention. Group B, generate energy distortions. Humans, follow my lead. The battle began. Titanus swung its massive limbs, tearing through Kalari ships with terrifying efficiency. But humans, small and agile, darted in and out of the creature's path, improvising maneuvers that kept it off balance. Drones projected holograms of additional ships, creating illusions that further confused Titanus. Alina monitored the creature's reactions. It's reacting exactly how we predicted, but its speed is incredible. We need to think faster. Humans use instinct. Kalari maintain support. This is the moment our improvisation becomes essential. The fleet's first engagement lasted hours. Titanus struck relentlessly, destroying anything in its path. Yet humans and Kalari worked together flawlessly. Humans identified patterns, Kalari deployed energy nets, and the combination of creativity and technology began to push the monster into a tactical disadvantage. Captain Cross realized that Titanus, despite its power, had weaknesses. Its energy field, massive but uneven, reacted unpredictably to irregular movement and multiple stimuli. We'll use that, he said. Humans, it's your time. Fly like nothing else matters. Think like Titanus can't. Trust yourselves and each other. Lena Rao led the maneuver. Human ships zigzagged through debris, sending bursts of light, sound, and energy signals in ways no creature could anticipate. Titanus roared. Though sound was meaningless in space, the vibration and energy pulses were terrifying. Its massive limbs lashed out, but every strike missed by inches as humans used speed and intuition to evade. Alina's team monitored energy fluctuations. It's weakening in certain areas. Now humans, exploit the gaps. The turning point came when humans and Kalari combined their strategies in a bold move. Humans lured Titanus into a field of unstable asteroids, while Kalari ships deployed synchronized energy nets. Drones projected holographic decoys, creating multiple targets that confused the creature's perception. Titanus reacted violently, striking the wrong targets, which caused parts of its energy shield to overload. Captain Cross seized the opportunity. Now. Focus everything on the gaps. Adapt. Improvise. Don't follow any plan too strictly. The human pilots darted through openings, striking with precision. Small vessels carried magnetic pulses that disrupted Titanus' energy field. Kalari beams targeted weak points identified by human observations. Titanus staggered, slowed, and finally, for the first time, became partially contained in a hybrid human-Kalari stasis net. The fleet erupted in cheers. Titanus had been slowed, contained enough to prevent further destruction. For the first time, humans felt that they could stand against even the largest void spawn. After the battle, the Kalari Council convened to evaluate the outcome. Titanus had been restrained but not defeated. Its intelligence meant it would adapt, learn, and strike again, but the humans' contribution was undeniable. You have done the impossible, the Kalari envoy said. Your species, your courage and ingenuity, it has turned the tide. We see now that Earth is not just a young civilization. You are a force to be reckoned with. Captain Cross responded humbly. We did what we had to do, but Titanus is still out there, and we will need more than courage. We will need everyone, humans and Kalari, to think and act together if we are going to survive. The aftermath of the battle was both inspiring and sobering. Titanus, size and power reminded everyone that the Void Spawn were not a single enemy. They were an entire threat capable of destroying worlds. Yet humans had proven that creativity, teamwork, and courage could overcome even the seemingly impossible. Elena Morales reflected on the battle. This is the essence of humanity. We don't always have the biggest weapons. We don't always have the strongest shields, but we adapt. We think differently. And when faced with monsters, we survive by using what others might call imagination. Neela, the Kalari scientist, nodded. I see it now. Your species has a gift. You are not the largest, but you are among the smartest and bravest. Together we can face these void spawn and win. The fleet did not rest. Titanus containment was temporary and more void spawn were approaching. The humans and Kalari worked tirelessly to improve defenses, enhance stasis nets, and develop strategies for coordination on an even larger scale. Captain Cross organized daily simulation exercises using intelligence gathered from previous encounters. Human pilots and Kalari crews trained together, testing improvisation against simulated threats. The exercises emphasized quick thinking, adaptability, and trust. Humans were quick to adjust plans mid-mission, teaching the Kalari that rigid protocols could be dangerous in unpredictable battles. Lena Rao demonstrated a daring maneuver. Remember, the monsters expect patterns. Give them none. They react to what they see, not what we think. Chaos can be our ally. The Kalari began to understand. Humanity's unpredictability, their willingness to think and act in ways no algorithm could anticipate, was becoming a key weapon against the void spawn. Weeks passed. Each new encounter tested humans and Kalari, but every mission strengthened their bond. Small victories turned into larger victories. Colonies were saved, and territories previously threatened were secured. Humans gained a reputation among the Kalari as inventive, courageous, and invaluable allies. But Captain Cross knew the ultimate battle was coming. Titanus had been slowed, but it had not been defeated. Larger void spawn were moving closer, and the Kalari homeworld still faced immense danger. Humans would have to face the greatest threat yet, a creature capable of overwhelming all defenses. Elena Morales worked on a new idea. If Titanus and the others learn like they seem to, then we need to outthink them, not just fight. We need to anticipate their moves before they happen. And we need something more than weapons. We need strategy, creativity, and a willingness to risk everything for success. Neela looked at her with awe. You truly are remarkable. If humanity is willing to do this, then the galaxy has hope. The night before the next encounter, humans and Kalari gathered in quiet reflection. Ships floated in orbit, stars twinkling beyond. Pilots cleaned their vessels, scientists reviewed data, and strategists fine-tuned plans. Captain Cross looked at the crew, proud but aware of the stakes. Tomorrow we face Titanus again, he said, but this time we will not just survive. We will show that intelligence, courage, and ingenuity can defeat even the greatest monsters. We have proven it once, and we will prove it again. Lena Rao added, the void spawn have never faced humans before. They won't know what hit them. And with that, humanity braced itself for the largest, most critical confrontation yet. A battle that would determine not just the fate of the Kalari, but the reputation of Earth's people across the galaxy. For the first time, humans were not just allies. They were leaders, innovators, and heroes, showing the galaxy what a species with courage and creativity could accomplish, even against monsters beyond imagination.